Thanks, Chairman. I'd like to welcome the Minister and officials. Can I first of all, like the previous speaker, compliment the IDA and their success in 2015, indeed over the last number of years, in relation to job creation and also the plans in relation to the regional facilities, which are certainly very welcome. Can I ask in relation to just the table on page 4 of the briefing note in relation to the percentage of investments projects to be outside Dublin and Cork? Those targets were 50% in 2013 and 2014, which weren't quite reached, but there was no target for 2015. You might be able to just explain the basis of that. Secondly, in relation to the supplementary budget, the requests for that the IDA has received requests for a large number of large grant payments from companies having completed investment projects. Do you see this as being a good thing? Do you see this as being evidence of expansion and job creation? And have you any concerns in relation to the estimates for 2016? Do you think that this will be something that will be replicated in 2016 as well? Thirdly, and I asked this when Enterprise Ireland were in, just regarding UDROS. I know UDROS is not under your remit, but do the IDA have a supportive relationship with UDROS? I know Enterprise Ireland said they have in relation to research and relation to that whole area. I'm wondering, do you have a role as well, and or do the IDA have a role? And because I'm concerned that I fully support obviously the increases in the budget for the IDA and Enterprise Ireland, as we've seen, but in relation to UDROS and Gaeltacht, I feel that they're been left behind to a degree, and I know it's not your brief, but I think it's something that needs to be raised also at Cabinet. And there needs to be extra capital funding there to ensure that we secure jobs in that area, and also important to the Irish language. Can I ask in relation to, without naming any specific projects, do you think that the IDA, or is there any evidence that the IDA are being hampered in any way by planning laws in this country in comparison, we'll say, across other European countries? Do you think that we're more likely here to challenges in the planning area and delays in comparison to other European countries, and do you think that this could have an impact on job creation? Is this something that IDA are bringing back to yourself, or indeed Enterprise Ireland, in relation to major projects? And just finally on subhead B5, I welcome the projects there listed, and two of them in Galway and NUI, the Advancing Medicine Through Discovery and Arts, Humanities, Social Science Research Building, over 2.4 million. Can I ask, how are these projects evaluated in terms of jobs potential, in terms of their impact on job creation? Is there very strenuous or stringent oversight from your department in relation to all these programmes? There's a number of them there, some 23.5 million, which I welcome, but how much of a role do you have in terms of evaluating them?
Deputy Minister.
Okay, the first thing is the 50% target applied to the previous 5-year plan, and it was very clear that that hadn't been realised. Now, to be fair to the IDA, there had been a progressive improvement, and it's in the table there, in the proportion of projects that were won outside of Dublin and Cork. And as you see, it was 30% in 2013, it went up to 37% in 2014, and from recollection in 2012 it was lower than the 30%, so there was an improvement. But in the new approach, the IDA took a different view, and they said that they would strengthen each individual region in terms of the regional management structure, the through flow, I suppose, of information between the regions and their IDA offices overseas, which they've strengthened with additional staff and liaison, and that they would set this new target of a 30 to 40% increase in the projects won. And they developed a different strategy with more, I think, tools in the locker, and we have, to complement that, devised the regional enterprise strategy to try and get more of the local players involved to make a more coherent offer in terms of winning additional FDI. So that's the approach we've taken. So if you like, the target going through will be the projects won in the years ahead, rather than that 50% target outside of Cork. And there will be, if you like, each of the regions will be individually examined, so that this is, I think, a more stretched target in many ways, and it also is more relevant in that each region can assess how it's doing. And there is, as you know, a monitoring committee within each region with both private and public sector participation that will seek to, review how we're doing. The earlier call down is certainly, it's an indicator of the health of projects, the quicker ramp up of projects, and perhaps also the sectoral mix, where you get you will get a different profile of projects that will have a quicker drawdown on cash. So it is. But overall, there is definitely, we're seeing a higher percentage drawdown than would have been anticipated. Like, I suppose the provision we make in 2015 is a weighted average of approvals over a number of years with a certain assumed drawdown. That profile has scrunched up a bit, and that's what's causing this. To some degree, by bringing it forward, it may ease the pressures later. But we are, looking with the healthy pipeline. We are looking at an increase in the provision for 2016, and we're continuing to talk to PER about the possibilities of pressure arising there. In terms of working with Oireachtas, I mean, we do have very good relations among the, if you like, the family of agencies, but one of the things that I'm trying to do through the regional enterprise strategy is to sort of break down these silos that do exist between departments or between agencies, and to get a bit more of a catalyst going at regional level to see projects that are of value getting progressed by joint effort. And we certainly would support, while we obviously don't have a capital allocation role in relation to Oireachtas, we would support projects that they're developing where that would be possible, and the IDA does assist sometimes in relation to specific project grants. The IDA haven't particularly signalled that planning laws or challenges or delays, as the Deputy said, are a problem. I think he knows that there are concerns in his own constituency about a particular provision of a road and so on, and that officials from IDA and local authorities are working on that. But I think it is fair to say that overall, one of the areas where Ireland has been weak in terms of competitiveness evaluations is in the area of speed of planning permits and construction permissions and so on. And it's an area that I think does deserve attention as we move on. It's one of the areas that I think comes up each year as we look at where do we stand competitively against our competitors, and it's certainly one that I would seek to, by having this closer alliance with local authorities, we'd hope that if we're all working towards the same shared objectives, that some of these planning delays might be negotiated more quickly, and I think that's part of the purpose. The PRTLI, they're essentially capital equipment, and they are, if you like, beefing up the capital capability of the institutes of education, and we, the HEA, administer it on our behalf. I suppose in terms of evaluation, it's hard to, if you like, turn a particular investment in a piece of equipment into a job profile, but we do work hard, and we have a group within Enterprise Ireland, Knowledge Transfer Ireland, headed up by it'll come to but they are working to see how can our assets, our intellectual property, our licenses be more quickly transferred into business and on into employment, and they are doing an evaluation of just how well we do it. They will provide a framework within which we can look at the performance of different institutes of education, and hopefully also provide us then with policy insight into how we sweat the assets more effectively. as you also know, Science Foundation Ireland has become more discerning in its allocation of science money, where it has to have not only excellent science, but there's a second gateway, which is potential impact on areas where we have a competitive advantage and the ability to win in joint funding from private sector. So we have, I suppose, more intermediate steps of how effective these institutions are being, rather than being able to say we put that much in and there's the job impact at the other end of the funnel.